السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. محمد Saeed with you, physics teacher. Now we are going to make a revision on momentum and Newton's second law. معانا some problems كده. We have some problems on momentum and Newton's second law. Choose the correct answer. The following diagrams show the state of a group of objects with the same mass, all of which are plotted on the same scale. The diagram that expresses the state of an object with the largest amount of movement is. We have learned before that momentum equals what? Momentum equals mv. All of these objects have the same mass, so the difference between them in velocity. Okay. In the diagrams, the relation between displacement and time. So the slope equals what? Slope in this case equals d over t, and d over t equals velocity. So slope equals velocity. Slope بالعربي يعني الميل، يعني مين مايل أكتر. x axis ده كده مش مايل، بدأ يميل. فمين الخط اللي ليه أكبر ميل؟ هنلاقي طبعا أكبر ميل هو الاختيار B، يعني velocity of object B is the largest, and B linear momentum equals m times v. So object B has the largest velocity, so it has the largest momentum. Another question: the corresponding graph shows the relationship between the momentum of an object affected by the force of F and the time. We have a relation between momentum and time, and we can the relation between momentum and time, and we can deduce that the momentum decreases or changes as time passes. So this means that there is a force acted upon this object. So the force affecting the body equals 0? No, because the momentum changes. If the force equals 0, so the momentum should be constant. In the same direction, no, the momentum decreases as time passes, which means the velocity of the moving object decreases as time passes. In the opposite direction, yes, because delta B decreases, or the change in momentum decreases as time passes, and it becomes 0 at a certain moment. The figure space represents Newton's second law. F square and mass. Newton's second law equals what? F equals ma. So the relation between force and mass, or F square and m square. But here in this figure, F square and mass, strong, force and square root mass, force and mass, not square root for mass, force and m square, strong, force and mass, right? We will choose the relation between force and mass, and the relation between force and mass is directly proportional, which means by increasing the mass we need greater force to move this object, or to acquire this object the same acceleration. Okay, another question. The following graphs represent 4 cases of an object movement, which is the graph that expresses the largest amount of movement. Okay, the largest amount of movement. Figure number 1, displacement 20 and time. So this object covers 20 meters in 1 second. So V equals what? Delta D, which equals 20 over delta T over 1 equals 20 meters per second. This object covers delta T equals 5 over 0.5, which equals 10. In this case, the object covers delta D, which equals 10 over delta T equals 2. V equals 10 over 2 equals 5. In this case, the object covers 10 meters through 4 seconds. So its velocity equals 10 over 4 equals 2.5. So the largest velocity is a 20. So the largest amount of movement is A because it moves with largest velocity. The following diagram shows the relation between momentum and the time for an object moves in straight line on frictionless horizontal surface under constant force. So the force acting upon equals, in this diagram, B and T. We have learned before F equals delta B over delta T, which equals delta B, this part, 60 minus 20 delta B, this part, over delta T. So 60 minus 20 equals 40 over delta T equals 4 equals 10 Newton. 10 Newton B. Okay, in the following figure, the resultant force that affects on the larger mass is base 2 Newton. Okay. First, we should find the net force. We have two forces in this case. 5 Newton in this toward this right side and 3 Newton left side. So the net force equals what? 5 minus 3 equals 2. So net force or summation F equals 2 Newton or net force. And these 2 newtons divided on 4 kilograms. These 2 newtons is divided by 4 kilograms. We have 4 kilograms, right? Affected by 2 newtons. So 2 newton is affected over 4 kilograms. So the ratio or 0.5 نيوتن بير كيلوغرام. معناه ان كل كيلوغرام بيتأثر نصيبه its percentage equals 0.5. يعني كل كيلو نصيبه كام؟ 0.5. طب هو بيقول لي in this question the resultant force that affects on the larger mass equals space 2 نيوتن. يعني larger mass اللي هي 3 كيلوغرام نصيبها كام؟ احنا قلنا 2 تقسم على 4 يعني كل 1 0.5 يبقى ده هياخد 0.5 نيوتن ودي كلها تاخد 1.5 نيوتن. So the resultant force that affects on the larger mass space 2 نيوتن less than 2 نيوتن. Two objects connected together with weightless thread are put on frictionless surface. Frictionless surface affected by an external force F as in the figure. So the tension force in the thread equals, عايزين نحسب the tension force. We want to calculate the tension force between the two masses. Okay. First we should calculate the acceleration of the group. Number 7, F equals MA, and this force, F, it pulls 3M, M plus 2M. So F equals 3M times A. So we can say that MA equals F over 3. Okay, the tension force between the two threads, 2M and M. Tension force F1 pulls M times A, the same acceleration. So we have learned before MA equals what? F over 3. So F1 equals F over 3. This force equals F over 3. Okay, another problem, 8. The following figure represents two objects connected by two threads through frictionless pallet. So if their masses are M1 and M2 and their accelerations are A1 and E2, so which of the following choices is correct? Okay, we have pallet and two masses, M2 and M1. This as the objects move in this direction, this means that m2 greater than m1. So m2 equals what? So this force F2 equals m2g, and F1 equals m1g. So net force F net equals m2g minus m1g, m2g minus m1g. So we can say that m2 minus m1 multiply g. F net equals ma, m which means total mass, m1 plus m2 multiply a, these their accelerations, and both of them moves with the same acceleration, a1 equals a2, but a1 and that equals a2, are they greater than g or less than g? We have learned before F net in this case, which equals m1 plus m2 multiply a equals m2 minus m1 multiply g. This part is greater than this part, so or we can say this part decreases, so a should increases, which means g is greater than a. So we'll choose a1 equals a2 less than g. a1 equals a2 less than g, the first choice. Okay, another problem. The following diagram shows the relation between weights and masses of some objects on two different planets P and Q. We have two different planets P, planet P and planet Q. So if an object of weight 650 Newton is transferred from planet B to planet Q, from B to Q. So first we want to calculate the acceleration due to gravity on both planets. Number 9. Weight on planet P equals mg of planet P, and weight of planet Q equals m gq. Okay, g of planet P equals what? Weight over mass. So 400 over 40 equals 10 meter per second square. G of planet Q equals what? Weight of planet Q 400 over 80. 400 over 80 equals 5 meter per second square. So choice number 1, the mass of the object on planet Q and weight of the object on planet Q. If the mass of the object on planet Q 130, so its weight 130 times 5. We have calculated the gravitational acceleration on planet Q equals 5 meter per second. So if the mass of the object 130, so its weight should be 650, not 325. So the next choice, 130 times 5 equals 650. It's wrong. C, 65 multiply 5 equals 325. So we'll choose C, because the gravitational acceleration of planet Q equals what? Equals 5 meter per second square. Question number 10. A ball of mass 0.15 kilogram moves with velocity of 12 meter per second in a certain direction, and a force F acted upon it for a certain period of time T as follows. We have force acted upon this object for a certain period of time, then the force decreased again of time as the follow. The value of the speed of the ball after 4 seconds. After 4 seconds is okay. The mass of the ball 0.15 kilogram and moves with velocity v equals 12 meters per second in a certain direction, and a force F acted upon it for a certain period of time. We have learned before F equals delta B over delta T equals M delta V over delta T, which equals mvf minus vi over delta t. So f delta t equals mvf minus vi. If if t equals what? Area under the curve, under the area of a triangle, which equals half multiply force equals 2 multiply time from 1 to 3 equals 2. 2 cancel with 2 equals mass 0.15 multiply Vf minus 12. So 2 over 0.15 equals Vf minus 12. Vf equals what? 2 over 0.15 plus 12. 2 over 0.15 plus 12 equals 25.33. This is the speed of the object after 3 seconds, meter per second, after 3 seconds. And after 3 seconds the object moves under a force equals 0, which means it moves with 0 acceleration, so it moves with uniform speed. So its speed after 4 seconds equals 25.33. 25.33. Okay, another problem. A car starts its movement from rest over a ramp of length 1 meter and inclined with an angle with horizontal of 30 degrees as follow. Its velocity at the end of the ramp is its velocity at the end of the ramp. اوكي النوع ده من البروبلمز لما نيجي نحله، هو طبعا البروبلم دي يعني المفروض كنا نحطها في the part of work and potential and kinetic energy. 1 meter in this angle 30 degrees. This problem خد بالك من حاجة مهمة جدا. work ممكن احسبه اف دي، بس لازم نبقى عارفين حاجة ان work in this case بيتحول لكاينيتيك انرجي، صح؟ والورك هيجي منين؟ يعني الكاينيتيك انرجي الانرجي ده تيجي منين؟ من بوتنشال. يعني potential energy in this case هيتحول في النهاية كله يبقى kinetic energy at this place. So we can say that potential energy at position A equals kinetic energy at position B. Potential equals what? mgh equals half mv square. So m cancelled with m. So gh, but we didn't have h. Sine 30 equals what? Sine 30 equals opposite over hypotenuse, h over 1. So height equals what? We can replace height by sine 30. G 9.8 multiply sine 30 equals half v square. So v square equals what? 2 times 9.8 times sine 30. So v equals square root 2 multiply 9.8 multiply sine 30. We can calculate it. Square root 2 multiply 9.8 multiply sine 30 equals 3.13. 3.13 C. Okay. Another problem. The opposite graph represents the relation between the net force acting on a body moving in a certain direction and the displacement d covered by the body in the direction of motion. So the total work done by this force on the body is, to calculate the total work done, work equals what? We have learned it before. Work equals FD. F times D, which equals area. If we have rectangle, so area of rectangle equals what? Length times width. Length in this case D or F, and width equals D. So F times D equals area under the curve. So if we want to calculate work equals area under the curve. So work equals area of triangle plus area of rectangle. Area of triangle, half base times height. Half base, half times 3 times height, which equals 15, plus area of rectangle, length times width. Length from 3 to 6, 6 minus 3 equals 3, multiply height 15, which equals 67.5 Newton. Joules. D. The opposite figure shows a body of mass 10 kg moves to the left with an acceleration of 18 Newton, 10 Newton, and the angle equals 30 degrees. Okay. First, we should make these two forces at the same line. 13. 10 Newton and 18 Newton, and the angle 30 degrees. This force equals 10 cosine 30 مع الانجل بالكوزاين، عكس الانجل بالساين، يبقى هنجيبها مع الانجل كده يبقى 10 cosine 30 وهنا 18. So net force equals 18 minus 10 cosine 30. 18 minus 10 cosine 30 equals 9.34 Newton. So this object moves under a force equals 9.34 Newton. We want to calculate its acceleration. A equals F over M equals 9.34 over its mass equals 10 kilogram over 10 equals 0.93 meter per second square. 0.93. Choose number B. In the opposite figure, the object moves with uniform acceleration. To calculate or to get the acceleration, we should first calculate the net force. Number 14. Net force equals what? F1 minus F2. 25 Newton, 20 Newton. So F net equals 25 minus 20 equals 5 Newton. So A equals what? F over M. So A equals F5 over M2 equals 2.5 meter per second square. 2.5 meter per second square. And it usually breaks when it falls on the ground, while it doesn't break when it falls on a pillow from the same height, because in case of breaking, هنوضح بس حاجة. we have two eggs below and hit the ground. Both two eggs falls from the same height, so their momentum at the moment of impact is equal because they reach the same velocity, approximately the same velocity. So in this case, its momentum in this case and also in this case, momentum equals what? mv. And we have learned before, momentum equals what? Delta B equals what? ft. So ft equals mv. It's momentum. So momentum in both cases convert into F times T. In the first case, the egg breaks down, the egg breaks because the time of impact is very short. Delta T, the time of change is very short. And the relation between force and time is inverse relationship, which means by decreasing the time the acting force on the egg increases. لما البيضة تخبط هنا الوقت بتاع the time of impact اللي هو أول لما تخبط لغاية لما تقف وقت التغير كام؟ صغير جدا. وده هيعمل ايه؟ هيخلي الفورس the force that acts upon this egg increases. لكن at the case of below at the time of impact لما هتخبط في البلو هي هتقف على طول ولا هتنزل بلو؟ يبقى هتاخد التايم اوف تشينج دلتا تي in this case دلتا تي تبقى كبيره، يبقى الفورس دي acting force on the egg تبقى صغيره. لكن in this case دلتا تي صغيره so the acting force بتكون كبيره. يبقى الموضوع كله يا جماعه بيعتمد على التايم اوف تشينج، علشان ودي الفكره بتاعت الاير باجز. احنا الاير باجز ايه الفكره بتاعتها؟ ان هو لما حضرتك لما تخبط في الاير باج مش تقف على طول، هي بتاخدك وتفضل ماشيه بيك شويه فبتزود لك التايم، بتعمل الونجيشن للتايم، فبالتالي لما التايم يزيد الفورس ذا اكتنج فورس القوه اللي هتاثر على راسك او على وشك هتبقى صغيره جدا لان احنا زودنا التايم. لكن لو مفيش اير باج هتخبط في البريبيز مثلا او تخبط في الحاجه اللي قدامك، فاول ما تخبط تقف على طول، فالتايم اوف تشينج اللي هو الوقت اللي حضرتك خدته علشان تقف صغير جدا، وبالتالي ده هينعكس ان الفورس اللي هتاثر عليك هتبقى مقدارها كبير جدا. فنرجع كده للبروبلم 15. هو بيقول لي طبعا the same height because in case of breaking اللي اتكسرت ليه؟ the change in momentum is larger. احنا قلنا الحالتين momentum change in momentum equal يعني in both cases are equal. The change in momentum is smaller. The time of impact is larger. لا طبعا لو التايم اوف امباكت لارجر هتبقى الفورس the acting force smaller because there is an inverse relationship between force and time. So we'll choose the time of impact is smaller وده هيخلي الفورس the acting force on the egg that breaks very large. خلى القوة المؤثرة على البيضة قوة كبيرة جدا خليتها تتكسر. Body moves with velocity 2 meters per second. If a force of 8 Newton acts on it for 5 seconds in its direction of motion, then the change in momentum of the body during this time is 16 F equals what? Delta B over T. We want to calculate change in momentum. Delta B equals what? F times T. So equals force equals 8 multiply time 5 seconds equals 40 kilogram meter per second. 40 kilogram meter per second C. If the kinetic energy of a car decreased to its quarter. لما نلاقي كلمة F يا جماعة يبقى في عندي حالتين. هو بيقول لي ان الكينيتيك يبقى في كي اي 1 وفي كي اي 2، يبقى كي اي 2 equals quarter كي اي 1. then its momentum يعني هو عايز البي اي 2 هتبقى كام بقى علاقتها بالبي اي 1 يعني بي اي 2 over بي اي 1 equals what؟ طيب كي اي 2 equals quarter كي اي 1. كي اي equals what؟ half ام في square في 2 square equals quarter sorry times half m v1 square half m cancel with half m. So v2 square equals quarter v1 square. v2 square equals 1 over 4 v1 square. So v2 equals 1 over 2 v1. So v2 equals what? mv2, which equals m the same mass, v2 equals half v1, so it equals half mv1, which equals b1. So momentum decreased in the second case, decreased to half its value, decreases to half, to its half. A body of weight 60 Newton has kinetic energy 27 joules. Body of weight 60 Newton, its kinetic energy equals 27 joules. So the momentum of the body equals what? And g equals 10 meters per second. So we can calculate its mass. Mass equals weight over g equals weight 60 over 10 equals 6 kilogram. And momentum equals what? mv. We have the mass of the body, and now we want to calculate the velocity. Kinetic energy equals half mv square. So kinetic energy, which equals 27, equals half multiply m6 times v square. So v square equals 27 over 3 equals 9. So v equals square root 9 equals 3 meters per second. So momentum equals mv equals mass 6 times v3 equals 18 kilogram meter per second. 18. Airbags are used to protect the drivers because they reduce the force of impact as a result of what? اللي احنا لسه قايلينه, as a result of increasing the time of change in momentum. ايوه طبعا بنزود, احنا عايزين هدفنا ان احنا to increase the time of change in momentum. Increasing the momentum, decreasing the time intervals of the change in momentum, or decreasing the momentum. هدفنا ان احنا نزود التايم, وبالتالي the acting force on the driver decreases. Another problem, the system shown below remains at rest. This system remains at rest. Each block weighs 20 Newton. This block 20 Newton and this block equals 20 Newton. The force of friction on the upper block equals what? وقال لي معلومة إن السيستم remains at rest. ده معناه إن this force equals this force. بما إن ال two object have the same weight, ده معناه طب الويت في الحالة دي عبارة عن 20, لكن هي 20 مش يعني الفورس بتأثر, هي مش 20 كلها, ده 20 كوزاين أو ساين حاجة يعني, وبالتالي في external force which equals friction force. يعني نقدر نقول إن weight, say this object number 1 and this object number 2, F1 equals F2 plus friction force. طيب هو مديني معلومة هنا الويت 20 نيوتن, ومديني A ب 3 متر, يعني this part 3 متر و B 4 مترز. لما بنحلل الفورسز, الجسم هنا الفورس اللي بتأثر هنا affecting this object in this case equals 20 اللي هو الويت بتاعه sin this angle sin theta. طيب sin theta نجيبها ازاي؟ sin equals, طيب احنا عايزين الاول نجيب theta. طيب احنا عندنا هنا opposite and adjacent. tan theta equals opposite over adjacent, right? So theta equals shift tan 3 over 4, shift tan 3 over 4, theta equals 36.86 degrees. Now we have theta. So this force equals what? F2 equals 20 sine 36.86 equals 20 multiplied sine 36.86 equals approximately 12 Newton. Now we have F1 equals weight of the object. F1 equals 20 equals F2 12 minus, sorry, plus friction force. So friction force equals 20 minus 12 equals 8 Newton. So in this case equals 8 Newton because the system remains at rest. If the total momentum of a system is changing, particles of the system must be exerting forces on each other. The system must be under the influence of gravity. A net external force must be acting on the system. أيوة لازم يكون في external force هي اللي جرت المومنتوم. total momentum of the system is changing. حصل دلتا بي، لازم يكون في F ورا التغير ده. لازم يكون في force. When you step on the accelerator to increase the speed of your car, the force that accelerates the car is the force of your foot on the accelerator. يعني القوة أو سبب زيادة سرعة السيارة بتاعتك. هل القوة دفع رجلك للأكسلريتور يعني لما دوست بنزين السرعة زادت بالسبب ده، ولا the force of friction on the road on the tires, the force of the engine on the drive shaft, ولا the normal force of the road on the tires؟ لا طبعا نختار the force of friction، بدليل ان لو العربيه مثلا مرفوعه وحضرتك دوست الاكسلريتور دوست بنزين هي العربيه مش هتتحرك، يبقى لازم يكون التايرز لازم يكون في friction between the car tires and the ground، لازم يكون في friction يعني اللي هي بنسميها الرياكشن، يعني لازم يكون في اكشن الاول between car tires and the ground وبعد كده الرياكشن اللي هو between ground and the car tires، يبقى لازم يكون في friction between them، وده سبب حركه السياره وسبب توقفها برضه لو جالك سرعه. A 5 kilogram object can move along the x-axis. It is subjected to a force. احنا حلينا واحدة زي دي in the previous questions. طيب. A particle moves along the x-axis. Its momentum is graphed below. يعني مديني هنا تغير ال B مع time. Change in momentum with time. As a function of time, rank the numbered regions يعني رقم أو رتب range rank the numbered regions according to the magnitude of the force acting on the particles least to greatest. طيب احنا قلنا قبل كده F equals what؟ F equals delta B over delta T 24. F equals delta B over delta T. Delta B over delta T means slope. Slope in this case. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. طبعا the maximum slope number 1. Then number 4, then number 3, then number 2. 1 4 3 2 1 4 3 2 B. مش لازم نحسبها، بنسلوب على طول. الأكتر ميل هو أكبر حاجة والأقل ميل هو. Question number 25. A 1000 kilogram space probe is motionless in space. To start moving, its main engine is fired for 5 seconds, during which time it ejects exhaust gases at 5000 meters per second. At the end of this process, it is moving at 20 meters per second. The approximate mass of the ejected gas is, we have a space probe 25. We have learned before momentum of burning gas equals momentum of the rocket or space probe. Momentum of gas equals mv gases equals mv rocket. Mass of gases equals what? Mass of gases unknown times velocity of gases 5000 equals mass of the rocket 1000 multiply its velocity 20 meter per second. So m gases in this period of time equals 1000 times 20 over 5000 equals 1000 times 20 over 5000 equals 4 kilograms. 4 kilograms. Okay, another question. Bullets from two revolvers are fired with the same velocity. V1 equals V2. The bullet from gun 1 is twice as heavy as bullet from gun 2. M1 equals to M2. Gun 1 weighs 3 times as much as gun 2. Bullet 1, M bullet 2, M gun 1 equals 3 times M gun number 2. The ratio between the momentum inverted to gun 1 to that inverted to gun 2. B gun 1 over B gun 2 okay. Now we want to calculate V gun 1 and V gun 2. Gun 1, BL of the bullet 1 equals BL, the bullet 1, equals BL gun 1. M bullet 1, V bullet 1 equals M gun 1, V gun 1 equals B gun 1. M bullet number 2, V bullet number 2 equals M gun 2, V gun 2 equals B gun 2. So B gun 1 over B gun 2 equals what? M bullet 1, V bullet 1 over M bullet 2, V bullet 2, which equals M bullet 1 equals 2, M bullet 2, and V bullet 1 equals V bullet 2 over M bullet 2, so equals 2 over 1. C. Another question. Question number 27. A 1 kilogram ball moving at 2 meters per second perpendicular to a wall rebounds from the wall at 1.5 meters per second. And we have a wall and the ball moves with velocity 2 meters per second, so it rebounds with 1.5 meters per second. The change in momentum of the ball is, so we want to calculate delta BL. BL1 minus BL2 equals M ball V1 minus M ball V2, which equals, the mass of the ball is 1 kilogram. 1 multiply 2 minus 1 multiply 1.5, which equals 2 minus 1.5 equals 0.5 kilogram meter per second. 0.5 0.5 away from 28. Particle moves along the x-axis from I to xf. Which of the following values of the initial and final coordinates, which results in the displacement with the largest magnitude? Xi equals negative 4 meter per meter to xf equals negative 8 meter, x-axis and y-axis. Xi negative 4, from negative 4 to negative 8. So displacement in this case 4 meters. The next one, Xi from negative 4 to 2, negative 4 to 2 meters. So 4 plus 2 equals 6 meters. In this case, displacement equals 6 meters. Displacement in this case equals 4 meters. The third case, from Xi 4 to negative 2, from 4 to negative 2. So in this case also displacement equals 6 meters. Xi negative 4 to xf equals 4, from Xi negative 4 to 4. So 4 plus 4 equals displacement equals 8 meters. So the maximum displacement in the last case from negative 4 to positive 4. Okay, question number 29. A particle moves along the x-axis from xi to xf of the following values of initial and final coordinates, which results in a negative displacement. هو بيسألني هنا مين في دول هيعمل negative displacement. Negative displacement, it means it moves x-axis and y-axis in this direction. The first case, xi from 4 to 6, from 4 to 6 in this direction, so it moves in positive direction. Xi equals negative 4 and xf equals negative 8, from negative 4 to negative 8, so it moves in negative direction, so B is correct. Cxi equals negative 4, from negative 4 to positive 2 in this direction, so it moves in positive direction. Xi from negative 4 to negative 2, so it moves in positive direction. So the true answer is B, from negative 4 to negative 8. Number 30. Two automobiles are 150 kilometers apart and traveling toward each other. One automobile is moving at 60 km per hour and the other is moving at 40 km per hour. The first one 60 km per hour and the second one 40 km per hour. In how many hours will they meet? In how many hours will they meet? The distance between them 150. So say they will meet at a distance equals x, and this displacement equals 150 minus x. Okay. V1 equals D1 over T1. V1 equals what? 60 equals D1, which equals what? X over T1. In the second case, V2 equals what? Equals D, which equals 150 minus X over T2. So 40 equals 150 minus X over T2. What is the relation between T1 and T2? T1 equals T2. So 60 equals x over T, and 40 equals 150 minus x over T. They will meet each other at the same time, if 1 hour or after 1 hour or after 2 hours, whatever. 60 equals x over T, so x equals 60 T. In this case, 40T equals 150 minus x. So by substituting from A to 2, you have 40T equals 150 minus 60T. 40T plus 60, 100T equals 150. So T equals 150 over 100 equals 1.5 hours. So they will meet each other after 1.5 hours. Okay, question number 31. A Newton is the force of gravity on 1 kilogram body, of gravity on a 1 gram body, that gives a 1 gram body an acceleration of 1 centimeter per second square, that gives a 1 kilogram body an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. الخلاف هيبقى between A and D. Newton equals what? F equals MA. So Newton equals what? 1 kilogram multiply acceleration of 1 meter per second square. So Newton is an amount of force that gives 1 kilogram body an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. So we will choose D. Because gravity on 1 kilo, you should note that gravity on 1 kilogram body is variable. It is not constant, as it depends on g, gravitational acceleration at the point. The unit of force called the Newton is 9.8 kilogram meter per second square, 1 kilogram meter per second square. Yes. Newton equals what? F equals MA. So Newton equals 1 kilogram multiply 1 meter per second square. So Newton is the force that acts upon 1 kilogram mass to accelerate it 1 meter per second square. Acceleration is always in the direction. Acceleration always in the direction of net force. The term mass refers to the same physical concept as inertia. The inertia of a body tends to cause the body to what? To speed up, slow down, fall towards the earth, resist any change in its motion. Resist any change in its motion. When a certain force is applied to a standard kilogram, its acceleration is 5 meters per second square. We have acceleration. When the same force is applied to another object, its acceleration is 1/5 as much. The mass of the object is 36. When a certain force is applied to standard kilogram, so M equals 1 kilogram affected by a force, its acceleration is 5 meters per second square. A equals 5 meters per second square. When the same force is applied to another object, its acceleration is 1/5 as much. So A2 equals 1/5 A1, which equals 1/5 multiply 5 equals 1 meter per second square. So the mass of the object is F1 equals F2, F1 equals M1 A1 equals M2 A2, M1 equals 1 kilogram, standard kilogram, A1 equals 5, M2 required times A2 equals 1, so M2 equals 5 kilogram. 5 kilogram. Question number 37. Mass differs from weight in that. Mass differs from weight in that. All objects have weight, but some lack mass? No. Weight is a force and mass is not? Yes. Weight is a force, while mass is the amount of matter inside the object. The mass of an object is always more than its weight. No. Weight always or sometimes greater than the mass of the object or less than. Mass can be weight always greater than the mass of the object. Mass can be expressed only in metric system. No, also weight can be expressed in metric system as weight equals measured by Newton, which equals kilogram meter per second square. The mass of a body is slightly different at different places on Earth. No, mass is constant, doesn't change by changing place, state, or shape of the matter. Is a vector? No, mass is a scalar. Is the same for all bodies of the same volume? No, the mass may change by changing the volume. Is independent of the free fall acceleration? Yes, mass doesn't depend on free fall acceleration, while weight depends on the free fall acceleration, depends on g. Question 39. A truck carrying sand moves under constant force. So if sand leak with constant rate through a hole in the truck, so the truck moves with space acceleration, with constant acceleration. Two objects, one having 3 times the mass of the other, are dropped from the same height in vacuum. At the end of their fall, their velocities are equal because anything falling in vacuum has constant velocity. No, طبعا constant acceleration, not constant velocity. The acceleration of the larger object is 3 times greater than that of the smaller object. لا طبعا. The force of gravity is the same for both objects. لا طبعا. None of the above. طبعا. مفيش حاجة من two forces, one with a magnitude of 3 Newton and the other with a magnitude of 5 Newton are applied to an object for which orientations of the forces shown in the diagrams الشكل اللي قدامنا is the magnitude of the acceleration of the object is the least acceleration. The rate force in figure number 1, 5 minus 3 equals 2 Newton. The least acceleration means the least force. 5 and 3, so the net force equals square root square root 3 squared plus 5 squared equals 5.8 net force 5.8. In this case 3 Newton, 5 plus 3 cosine theta, 5 plus a certain number equals a number greater than 5. 5 plus 3 equals 8 Newton. In this case 5 minus 3 cosine theta. 5 minus a number less than 3. 5 in this case 5 minus 3, 5 minus, for example, 2, so equals 3, for example, 2 points, a certain number. So the least acceleration is number A because it is the least force. 3 box X, Y, and Z rest on a table. The weight of each box is indicated. Table 10 Newton, 5 Newton, and 4 Newton, X, Y, and Z. The net force acting on book Y, the net force acting on book Y is they are at rest. So the net force equals 0 because they are at rest. 3 books X, Y, and Z rest on a table. The weight of each book is indicated 10, 5, and 4. The force of book Z on book Y. book Z on book Y. ناخد بالنا من حاجة مهمة. book Z on book Y. في book X Z10 دي التيبل 10 نيوتن 5 نيوتن 4 نيوتن. طيب هو Z هيأثر على Y ازاي؟ How can Z affected on Y؟ مبدئيا ده X and Y acts on Z, right؟ يعني هو Z فيه 9 نيوتن وما اتحركش. طالما في اكشن يبقى لازم يكون في رياكشن. يبقى X and Y acts on Z by a force equals 9 Newton, so Z reacts اللي بنسميها reaction force on Y by 9 Newton. So the force of book Z on book Y, Z on Y equals 9 Newton. Reaction force, the force of reaction. 3 blocks A, B, and C, each having mass M, as you can see, are connected by strings as shown. Block C is pulled to the right by force F that causes the entire system to accelerate. Neglecting friction, the net force acting on book D is the net force acting on book B. We need to calculate the net force acting on book D. Question number 44. Force F, C, D, and A. First, we should calculate the entire acceleration of the system, the whole system. F equals what? A M M N. So F total force equals 3 M A. We can say that M A equals F over 3. Okay. B, there is a force acting on B and another force acting on B. A and C. To calculate the net force, we should calculate the force acting on B. This force FBC, FAB, FBC equals what? FBC, it attracts block B and A. So 2m times acceleration, all of the entire system moves with a certain acceleration which is called A. And FAB equals what? FAB, it attracts only the object A, so it equals MA. So the net force acting on block B equals FBC minus FAB, which equals FBC equals what? 2MA minus MA equals MA, and MA equals what? MA equals what? F over 3. So F net that acting on block B equals F over 3. It's F over 3. The first two. Two blocks A and B are in contact on a horizontal frictionless surface. 36 Newton constant force is applied to A. As shown, the magnitude of the force of A on B is معايا يا جماعة في البروبلمز دي 4C5. We have two blocks A and B. The mass of A equals 4 kilogram and mass of B equals 20 kilogram. So the total mass equals what? 24 kilograms. So the force over mass 36 over 24 equals what? 36 over 24 equals 1.5. ده معناه ان نصيب كل كيلوجرام نيوتن بير كيلوجرام، يعني كل نيوتن بياخد كام؟ 1.5. طيب احنا عايزين هنا ايه؟ The magnitude of the force of A on B. A on B. The mass of B equals what? 20 kilogram. With 1 kilogram 1.5. So the force acting on B equals 1.5 times 20 kilograms equals 30 نيوتن. يبقى نصيب البلوك بي دوت لوحده 30 نيوتن. و A كام؟ 6 نيوتن. يبقى 30 نيوتن. كأننا وزعنا الفورس على التوتال ماس، يعني نشوف بقى كل 1 كيلو جرام بياخد كام نيوتن، يعني نصيبه كام نيوتن من ال 36. فقال لها طبعا بلوك بي اتس ماس 20 كيلو جرام، سو بياخد من ال 36 30 نيوتن، والايم 4 كيلو جرام، سو نصيبه كان 6 نيوتن. A brick slides on a horizontal surface. Which of the following will increase the magnitude of the frictional force on it? Putting a second brick on it on top, decreasing طبعا لو حطينا another brick on it, it will increase its frictional force. Decreasing the surface area of contact, no. Increasing the surface area of contact, decreasing the mass of the brick, طبعا putting second brick on top. A crate races on a horizontal surface and a woman pulls on it with 10 Newton force. No matter what the orientation of the force, the crate doesn't move. Rank the situations shown below according to the magnitude of the frictional force of the surface on the crate. List to greatest. 10 نيوتن يبقى friction force هنا equals what? 10 نيوتن عشان هو قال لي it doesn't move. 10 نيوتن in this case friction force equals 10 cosine theta. 10 cosine theta means هيديني طبعا certain number less than 10، يعني دي كده friction force in this case greater than in this case. In this case friction force هتبقى كام؟ approximately 0. يبقى أقل friction force number 3، then number 2، then number 1. 3 2 1. Avoid balls a wooden box along a rough horizontal floor at constant speed. ناخد بالنا من كلمة constant speed. By means of a force P as shown in the diagram. In the diagram, F is the magnitude of the force of friction. Force of friction N is the magnitude of the normal force, reaction force, and Fg is the magnitude of the force of gravity weight. Which of the following must be true؟ خد بالك ان هو قال لي ايه؟ A boy pulls a wooden box along graph horizontal flow at constant speed. هو ماشي ب constant speed. ده معناه ان force B equals F. B equals F and N equals Fg. طبعا ان هو قايل لي هو ماشي ب constant speed، يبقى معناه ان ال B equals F and Fg equals N. طبعا لانه قال لي constant speed. A boy pulls a wooden box along a rough horizontal floor at constant speed. بيقول لي constant speed by means of force B, quotient B, as shown in the diagram. F is normal force. Sorry, F is the magnitude of the force of friction force. N is the magnitude of the normal force. And Fg is the magnitude of the gravity. Which of the following must be true؟ ناخد بالنا هنا، يبقى احنا لازم نخلي الفريكشن فورس، الفورس اللي هي بي تبقى مع الفريكشن فورس، يبقى الفورس هنا تبقى كام؟ بي كوزاين سيتا. يبقى بي ايكوالز وات؟ طبعا بي كوزاين سيتا ايكوالز اف. ليه؟ عشان constant it moves with constant speed. طب علاقة B بالاف يبقى B equals F over cosine theta. ده معناه ان ال B اكبر من F، عشان لما اضرب رقم كبير كوزين ثيتا يطلع رقم اقل، يبقى B greater than F. طيب خد بالك ان ال B هتبقى هنا كوزين ثيتا وهنا N بلس B ساين ثيتا. ده معناه ايه بقى؟ ان النورمال فورس ليس ذان الاف جي، النورمال نفسها، لان احنا زودنا عليها جزء، يبقى لازم يكون عشان يبقى في بالانسنج يبقى النورمال فورس بلس ليس ذان، يبقى النورمال فورس ليس ذان اف جي. يبقى بي جريتر ذان اف، بي جريتر ذان اف اند ان ليس ذان اف جي، يبقى اختار سي. A block of mass M is pulled at constant velocity along a rough horizontal floor by an applied force, tension force, as shown. The magnitude of the frictional force is, طبعا لازم نعمل this force is split into Ft cosine theta and جزء من الفورس بتاعتها هيرفع الجسم على الأرض، يبقى Ft أو T ساين ثيتا، T ساين ثيتا و T ساين ثيتا. هو بيقول لي بقى the magnitude of the frictional force، friction force equals كام؟ اللي هو ماشي constant speed، هو قايل لي هنا constant velocity، ده معناه ان الفورس دي الفريكشن فورس equals equivalent to T cosine ثيتا، T cosine ثيتا. Another question, a block of mass M is pulled along a rough horizontal floor by an applied force D. The vertical component of the force exerted on the block by the floor is T cosine theta and T sine theta. طيب وبقول لي the vertical component of the force exerted on the block by the floor is mg. يبقى النت فورس equals what؟ mg minus t sine theta.